Tell them check out the blog, bro. YouTube channel called MKO. It's pugilism, boxing algorithm. M stand for Marvin and Kevin's initials KO. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the MKO pugilism boxing channel, talking all things boxing. Once again, here back at you with yet another blog. And today the subject is about Devin Haney, his status with the WBC. The WBC at the moment is looking like an acronym for We Be Confusing. And I just want to speak to you today on a few matters, regarding Haney specifically, his status with the WBC as champion. And as fight fans will know, Devin Haney, he's recently been elevated now to sort of full WBC champion. Also, I believe last year it must have been Vasyl Lomachenko, the Matrix. He has been also elevated to a status of franchise champion, whatever that's worth. He's been elevated to that. And just run you through a few facts here about, specifically regarding Haney. Because he's the one he's been elevated to the full champion. And the fact of the matter is he's only actually fought, if you look through his resume, through his record, and you look at the WBC rankings, Haney's only actually fought one fighter that's in the WBC top 10 rankings, and it's a guy called Abdullayev, who I saw that fight. Good performance by Haney. I think he stopped the guy. But apart from this guy, Abdullayev, I haven't actually seen anybody else on his resume that's in the WBC top 10 or top 5, and yet he's still been elevated to champion. And for me, myself, I honestly can say I don't see the logic in their move of giving him the title, because that's essentially what it is. They've given him the title, and they've given him the title over other fighters. When you look at the top 10, you see Jorge Linares there, you see Mendy, you see Luke Campbell, and career wise I honestly don't see what Haney has done more than any of these guys or the other two in the top 5 to really sort of deserve this title. They've given him this title, and you can't tell me that he's done more than Linares, Mendy or Campbell. I mean, he arguably, yeah, you could say on potential wise he may beat all 3 of them, but the fact is he hasn't achieved or fought or mixed in the same company as these guys, yet he's been elevated to champion over these guys. And the fact is he's been given a title here, the WBC. They've given him their belt, but he hasn't even fought anybody in the top 5. And for me, it just doesn't make any sense. How can you give a guy a title, give a guy your title belt, when he hasn't even fought anybody in the top 5 of your organization, yet you still give the guy the belt? It's not as if he's fought and beaten a Campbell, a Mendy, let alone Lomachenko or Linares. He's not beaten any of these guys, but they still give him the title, they give him the belt. And my thing is, I believe it's almost as if they're judging or ranking fighters based on what they perceive the potential of the fighter to be. So maybe they see him as potentially being able to beat the guys in the top 5 and potentially being able to beat Lomachenko. I don't know. Maybe they see Haney as a guy who can beat these guys, so they just rank him above them and give him the belt. But my problem with it is, they're ranking these guys not based on achievements. They're giving a guy a title here who's not fought anybody really to deserve this title. Yes, he is a good prospect, but again, he hasn't beaten anybody in the top 5 to really say that he deserves to be number 1 contender, let alone even the champion. For me, I would respect it more You know, I don't really respect this decision they've made, but I would respect more a decision where they ordered Haney versus Lomachenko for the proper title. You know, at least that would make some sort of sense, you know, because you've got a guy who's young, prospect, undefeated, another guy who's a multi-weight world champion. You know, Lomachenko is the WBC champion. And to put those two together and have a fight for the title would make more sense. But instead of doing that, the WBC is like, no, we'll elevate Lomachenko to franchise or whatever that means, and then we'll elevate Haney to the full champion. We're not going to ask him to fight anybody in our top 5. We're just going to elevate him. We're just going to put him there. And I think it's, you know, to me, it's crazy. I don't understand how you do that, you know, because you've got guys there in the top 5 of your organization who deserve a shot. You know, instead of giving those guys a shot, you're having Campbell and the other guy, I forget his name, you're having those two box off for not the full title, but an interim title, and then that entitles them to then fight Haney for the full title. But my thing is, how can you give him the full title? He's not beaten number 1, he's not beaten number 2. So number 1 and number 2 have to box each other just for the opportunity to get him, who's been given a title. And I don't know what universe that makes sense in. That makes absolutely 0 sense. He's not beating number 1 and number 2, but they're letting number 1 and number 2 box each other for the opportunity to fight him, who's been given a title. You know, I really think this is a huge mess in the WBC, and in my view, I think instead of elevating guys to these mystical franchise champions and giving guys belts without them having fought for the belts, what they need to do is actually let the best fight each other. If you believe this guy's the best, let him fight number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Let him actually fight these guys and actually prove he's the best. You know, let him actually fight and let him actually prove he's the best. Because right now it feels like they're just assuming he's the best, so they give him the belt. But my thing is, this is really kind of, I guess, silly in a way, because you're giving a guy something without actually having to earn it, or without actually proving himself. And the thing is, you know, one of my main reasons why I don't like this sort of thing is because all it does is it just muddies the waters, because, you know, technically we don't even really know who the WBC champ is, because the guy they've given the belt has been given that belt without fighting the other top contenders. You know, he's not been asked to fight Lomachenko, who's been elevated to the franchise championship. So right now at this moment, all they're doing is they're creating confusion. Because yes, you've got great fighters in there, but instead of having them fight each other, you're elevating them, giving them belts without them having fought for them. And, you know, it leaves the public confused. Because we really and truly, even the hardcore fans, me as a fan who's been watching it all my life and partook at some point, even myself, I'm confused. I don't know who the WBC champ is, because Haney and Lomachenko haven't fought. You know, Haney hasn't fought guys in the top 5. So we don't really know. Right now, all they've done is they've just created a confusion. And I think that's a negative for the sport of boxing, because if we as, you know, the hardcore boxing fans, fight guys who've been watching boxing for years, guys that box and whatever, who really know about the sport, you know, even for us, we don't know who the champ is, because the top guys are being separated. They're being given this special status where they don't have to fight each other. So how do you expect to even bring fans and bring people into the sport? How do you expect to bring the casuals into the sport when we don't even know? We can't even answer the simple question of who is the WBC champ. Why? Because they elevate people, give people special status who they favor for some reason, And then you got guys left behind, top contenders, you know, fighting for the opportunity to fight somebody who was given a belt. I just find it crazy, and you know, I I honestly hope that they will sort the mess out, and they will, you know, at least we need to see Lomachenko versus Haney, at least that, to have some sort of a clear up, you know, let alone the other guys. So anyway, that's my little rant / my thoughts on Haney and the WBC situation. And until next time, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and see you on the next vid. MKO over and out.